Okay, we're rolling.
This is an interview at the Beltrone Living Center, Colonie, New York. It is the 6th of August, 2003, approximately 2 p.m. Interviewers are Mike Russert and Wayne Clark. Could you give us your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
All right. Rosemarie, my maiden name was Schneider, Schneider. I'm now Rosemarie Conlon. I was born May 22nd, I'm nervous,
It's okay.
1925.
All right. What was your educational background prior to entering military service?
Prior to entering military service, I graduated from high school with a business, basically.
Okay. Do you remember where you were and what your
Oh,
reaction, pardon?
Prior to entering
I'm sorry.
the military, I worked at the Maritime College for officers in New London, Connecticut.
Oh, really? What did you do
And
there?
I worked secretarial work.
Okay.
And at the time I was only 17. My father had gone to New London. He was a plumber, and there was no work here, and he went to work on submarines there.
Oh.
And the family went with him. And he finished his work there. I got a job. It was U.S. Civil Service, working at the Maritime College. And when he finished his work there, he said, "We're going home." And I was 17, and the officer I was working for and his family offered me to stay with them, but my parents said, "You go home." So we went home.
Okay. Do you remember where you were and your reaction when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
I was in the car with my father, and we heard it on the car radio. We were going to my aunt's house, and it was just complete shock. We couldn't believe it.
Okay. You joined the Army. Why did you select the Army after working with the Navy?
I worked with what I worked with was the Maritime.
Oh, okay.
It was not Navy.
Yes. Okay.
But I don't know, I just wanted to join the Army. To me, that's what I wanted to do. I had no question where I wanted to go. And I wanted to see about it, and I had to be 20 years old to join. And I had to wait till my 20th birthday, which was May 22nd, 1945.
Okay. Where did you go? Where were you inducted, and where did
I
you
was
go for
inducted
training?
and went to Des Moines for the basic training. And most of when we finished basic training, we waited to see where we were going for additional training, and most of them were going for additional training, but I had enough, I guess, on the business courses. Some of them they changed completely. They'd be doing business, but they sent them to cook school or motor pool. But I went right out to work.
How long was your basic training for?
I'm trying to think. It wasn't that long. Whether it was 6 weeks or 8 weeks, that's what it was.
It was basically an introduction to military life, and they
Yeah,
taught you how to
marching
march and salute.
all basic, and identifying aircraft, and
Did you fire a rifle at all? Or?
no, we didn't.
Okay.
No. That was a different world then. I don't believe the WACs were firing rifles at that point in time.
Okay.
And we went by train to Camp Richie. We got close to there, and then we had to take a bus for the final trip to Camp Richie. And when I called my parents after I got to Camp Richie to let them know where I was, they had already knew I was going something like that, because they had checked up on me for security, and I had to get, the local sheriff had come to the house, and they had checked up whether it was a secure person or not, because I had to have clearance. This was directly under the military intelligence, and was called PACMIRS, Pacific Military Intelligence Research. And it was a multinational. There were Canadian Army and Canadian WACs there. That was the Canadian WACs. And also there was English and English WACs there. And they all worked together with these documents that they had managed to get, Japanese documents, and decide which ones. They were limited on what they could actually go through and interpret, so they had to decide which ones to interpret, and I got in on that.
Now, you said
took the minutes and meetings that decided which ones to interpret and which ones not to.
Now, you said there were Japanese Americans.
There were
also?
Japanese Americans there, yes, and they helped with the interpreting. It was a very interesting unit to work with.
Where did you live?
We lived in barracks, the girls were in barracks, and we had our own cooks. We ate in our own. We had KP, and then they decided that we should get out early in the morning because we needed exercise. So before we were going to work in the morning, they got us out to do exercises. So there was quite a bit of complaints about that one because we were working a full-time day, and we had to get there earlier just to do these exercises. So they decided we'd take in the afternoon and do some hiking rather than these exercises, which we didn't think we needed to work in an office.
How long of a day did you work?
It was a good 8-hour day working, and besides that, would have KP and would have duties around it, you know, and we had to keep our barracks, and we had inspections, and
So they didn't
So
let you
it
forget
was-
you were in the Army?
we didn't, they didn't let us forget. We had to have regular inspections there and everything else, and we knew we were in the Army.
Were you allowed any liberty or time off?
We had some time off, not a lot, but yes, we did have time. And then we were there for quite a while, and then we got moved into Washington, D.C. And I was loaned out to another unit to work in the Pentagon for a while. And I
What
worked
did you
in
do
the
there?
Pentagon. I also did office work, and I worked with the office work mostly. Everything I did with the office work.
Was the war still on at that point?
The war in Germany was over, and the war in, I think by then the war was pretty well over. It's hard to remember exactly, but by the time we got to Washington, it was the very end of the war. And
Do you remember the reaction for VE Day and
yeah,
Military Day?
yeah. We were in the USO, and it was wild. It was a very happy time.
Did you get to see any USO shows at all?
Yeah, we had, where we were in Camp Richie, there was nothing around for entertainment at all, so the USO came, and we had a USO pavilion there that we went to for dances, and because there was nothing else there. It was out in the middle of nowheres.
Did you see any celebrities?
No, I didn't, no. We were a very small unit, so it was very limited what we had.
Do you recall when the reaction when President Roosevelt died?
That was, Not too much, no, I don't, no.
How about with this being a unit that was connected with the Pacific, how about with the dropping of the bombs in Japan? Do you remember the reaction?
Yeah, well, that, when they heard that, they figured that's the end, that, and that was a real big, happy time.
Mhm.
Of course, we were working with actual American Japanese, but, they weren't overly happy when the bombs dropped that on Japan like that. It was pretty rough.
What were the relations between the Japanese Americans and the others working there?
We were all working together. Some of the WACs went out with them, and
Oh, you had blacks in your unit
WACs,
too?
no, the WACs
Okay, I'm
went
sorry,
out
I
with
thought
the
you-
Japanese
Mhm.
soldiers, and it was, when we had parties, or everyone, was there, and it was very liberal.
Mhm. Okay.
Because there was such a mixed, as I say, there were English people, and the English WACs and the Canadian WACs were paid very little, and they had to pay them extra because they couldn't compete, just to live with us even. So it was very interesting. They had their officers there, but we all lived together. The girls all lived together, and
Now, when you went to Washington, what kind of facilities did you have to live in?
we were in barracks. I think we were on barracks on C Street, a building that was just barracks. For a while, we were in South. The fort down there. What is it? Fort Myers?
That's in Virginia.
No, yeah, but that's right there.
Okay.
Pickett is just outside
No,
of
no,
Washington.
no. South. My mind isn't
that-
what it
that's
used
okay,
you don't
to
have
be.
to.
Yeah, but we were there for a while, and then we were at C Street, and we worked, I believe we had in an office building at 5th and K.
Now, what kind of work did you do there?
Secretarial, I was secretary to
Was it
colonel.
anything with
All-
intelligence?
all
or-
in- it was,
there was
the
still-
whole thing, I only worked, the whole time I was there, I worked in the same unit, PACMIRS, and it was all intelligence.
Mhm.
They were still going through the documents that they had. And before that, they had been going through German documents also, but after the war with Germany ended, they were going through the Japanese just exclusively.
Okay. When were you discharged?
I got the war was over, and we had an opportunity. They gave us a choice. We could go to Japan, or we could go to Germany, and I called up my parents, and my mother said, I said, my girlfriend and I want to go to Germany. My mother said, I let you go into the army because of the war. The war's over, come home.
Now, was this your first real time away from your home and
Yes, it
family?
was the first time away from my home and family.
Mhm.
And so I went home. So I got out then. That's when I got discharged.
Were you, did you ever make use of the GI Bill?
Just on my taxes, I got a break on my taxes, but no, I didn't go back to school.
Were you able to use the 5220 Club?
I had, when I went into the Army, I had been working for the state, New York State. My job was waiting for me. As soon as I came out, it was there, and I went back to work.
Okay. Did you stay in contact with anyone that you
For
served?
years, I stood in contact with my one girlfriend. She stood in a little longer than I. She got out, and she worked for the same PACMIRS as a civilian. And she worked there for years until she retired. And we stood in touch for quite a while, Christmas cards, and when I got married, she came up for at that point, and after that we wrote and stood in touch, but we never got to see each other really that much because we didn't travel that much at that point.
Mhm. Did you join in, or have you joined any veterans organizations?
The American Legion, but I haven't been active in it.
Mhm.
You know, I joined, but that was it.
Did your unit ever have any kind of reunions or
No,
anything?
it was a very small unit, and it was there was some from Canada, some from England, and some from Australia. And no, we never did.
Okay. How do you think your time in the service affected or changed your life?
Oh, it made me much more. I felt as if it opened me up a lot. I understood a lot of things I didn't understand before, I guess, and it just was a big improvement in what I understood and was interested in.
You've got some photos you'd like to show us?
Yes, I do. I have a picture of the graduating class from basic training.
Okay. Now, whereabouts are you in that picture?
I'm way hard to find at this point. You know, I can't see it right
No,
now.
that's okay.
All right,
But-
just
If you hold it up.
yep. Zoom right in on it.
Now, what year was that?
This was in 1945.
And where was that taken?
That was in Des Moines.
Okay, there you got it.
Okay.
Got it? And on the back, I had a lot of the girls sign.
Okay. All right.
Picture of when I was in service, a little younger looking.
Now, was that in 1945 also?
This was in 1946.
46.
Okay. Got it. And you also have
And
a book
I also have a booklet
Okay.
on the unit that I was in.
Okay. All right, got it.
We
Okay?
have a couple questions over here, too.
Yeah, I'm just interested to learn, where are you from originally?
When I went into service, I was living in Del Mar.
Okay. And then when you were discharged?
I went back to Del Mar.
Okay. And do you live in Beltrone now?
I live in Beltrone now, and I've lived in Colonie since 1951.
I think that's really it. Your unit PACMIRS,
Yes.
does that stand for something?
Yes.
Okay.
Pacific Military Intelligence Research Section.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Well, she's got some other, do you have some more photos in those albums that you'd like to show us? Or
They're
is that-
small, there's small pictures, and they're not really all that great.
Okay,
Well, here's one with the Japanese, a couple of the Japanese.
oh, okay.
If you just hold it right
Just-
there, Wayne can pan in on that.
Okay. All right, I got it.
if I have. The camp was around a beautiful lake. I wouldn't be surprised if it was being used now as a presidential camp now.
Okay, that's... All right, and who are those two ladies?
This one is me and one of my girlfriends.
Now, is that the one you stayed in contact with?
No, this is another one.
Okay. Oh, can we see some of your insignia?
Okay, these are the ones I was done with because I ended up at T4.
Technical corporal?
Yep.
Okay.
No, I ended up at, this is technical corporal, but I ended up technical sergeant.
Okay. All right, great.
Okay. This shows one of the Chinese girls is in this one.
Oh, you had a Chinese, some Chinese in your unit also?
Yeah,
Now, were they
Chinese
Chinese Americans?
also. Chinese Americans, yeah.
Okay, you want to hold that up?
Did you ever receive any Chinese documents? Or did you just
No,
stay with
no,
the...
no, we didn't do Chinese, we did Japanese.
Okay. got it.
Yeah. And this one is an English WAC, and this one, the one on over at this end is English WAC.
Oh, okay.
Got
I
it?
see one there from Canada.
Yeah. That's why I said it was a very interesting
Okay.
unit. Okay, you got enough?
Yep.
Yes, okay, well, thank you very much
Yes,
for your
thank
interview.
you so much.